Hey, babe, welcome back to the Turned On Woman podcast. This is your host, Lauren Schaefer. Welcome back to another episode. This is a very special episode today as I am bringing on my boyfriend, my partner. I call him both things, Trevor, who is in the house with us today. And just a reminder, this is a space for you to turn on your energy because we're going to talk about a lot of the things that we did in the beginning of our relationship. And I hope that this shows you who you get to be as a turned on woman so that you can receive your man this year in your life whenever he is going to come across your path, because it could be anytime, anywhere, any place. So we are going to give you the background details of the beginning of our relationship and how it's been going so far. So welcome to the podcast, Trevor.
Wow, the nitty gritties. We're going to get into it.
We are getting into it.
And you call me Boo sometimes, no?
I call you Boo, I call you Babe, I call you Baby, all the things. Any word goes.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as it's done with a well-intentioned love behind it. Okay, so for the ladies who are here today, I want to share the intention behind our relationship. And because I met him last year, 6 months after, you know, my story of grieving a relationship, turning on my energy, knowing that I would meet my man in 2024. And I ran into Trevor and that's the moment that I decided my energy was already backing me, but I was the woman who could receive. And a lot of it was I don't want to say like I was planning every move, but it's like I was aware and I was conscious of who I was being for the type of relationship that I wanted to create. I knew I wanted an expansive relationship, meaning I was going to grow. I'm looking for someone to grow with me. I want to build a family into the future. And so I was looking for someone to be on the same page as me. But okay, I say looking, but I actually wasn't looking. Wasn't actively looking, but I was open to and I knew what I wanted, and I was leading myself in my life with that energy, which that is turning on my energy. That is allowing myself to be led to the man who is meant for me. And then one day, Trevor came across my path. So, as the story goes, we met in a coffee shop, and you walked into the coffee shop, and I was the one who started a conversation with you. And Trevor didn't know anything about me. I actually told him that, hey, we have mutual friends, and I started chatting with him. And the thing is that I've said this many times before, but for anybody who's new here, that I had a preconceived notion, idea, let's call it a judgment. My ego had a judgment about who Trevor was and what he was about. And in the moment that I saw him in this coffee shop, I was like, you know what? I actually just want to connect with this guy and see what he has to say about something that I have a question about with business and in the place that we live and all the things. So I had a conversation with him. Tell us from your perspective just how that random, nonchalant conversation went on your end.
Yeah, from my side, I was just, getting an early morning coffee, and, it's like a Sunday morning too. And it's like, but yeah, no, the conversation just flowed really, really fluidly and very fun. And yeah, it was a topic that I was also curious about, so I'm willing to give and hear and listen and share because, talking about business, talking about, these similar things that we share values in is definitely intriguing for myself. And, a beautiful woman too is nice.
And here's the funny thing is that, he says beautiful woman, but I truly believe that it all has to do with our energy. That morning I was not wearing anything special. I was literally in my athletic gear, hair up in a bun, no makeup on, and that's just who I was. But it was this openness and curiosity of who I was showing up as and really not being attached to any outcome, because I didn't go into the conversation wanting to know, is this man available? Is he single? I had a different goal in mind, which was to connect over this business question that I had. And what I recognized from the conversation that we had is that it felt so easy. And that has been a principle that this is the principle I'll tell you that I have followed, is that when you are looking for a soulmate or you desire to meet your soulmate, you must care about how it feels more than how it looks. Because especially in the society that we grow up in, and we look at things and we give things face value with our mind, with our ego, we build a judgment around it. I would have passed you up completely. Like I would have just been like, oh, like he's not what I'm looking for. He's this, he's that. He does these things and I'm not interested or whatever. And it was just because my ego had a judgment about like you being in the crypto space, and I had seen that you were building this community of crypto things. But here's the thing, like I also could have taken a more expansive lens of like, oh wow, this guy is a community builder. He goes for the things that he wants. So I literally had a short-sighted judgment about you. But that day I really recognized, wow, like it feels really good to converse with this man, and it was easy. Your energy was grounded. You were just so genuine, and I could feel that. And I was just like, wow, okay, like I think I've been wrong about this person that I just had a short-sighted view of.
Yeah, the big thing here too is yes, in that moment, but that was just where the curiosity started, and then there was the moment of like, okay, well, we have no real intent, whether it's to get into dating or to know, like, and trust each other enough to be like, okay, cool. So this was just like the introduction to being like, oh, maybe there is more, but maybe this guy could be a friend in life, So that's just like the beginning stage.
Yeah, I love that, because when you're not actually looking for someone to fill this role in your life, then you just connect with anyone in everything, anyone, anytime, any place, without this expected outcome. You just become open to connection, because even if you and I had just become friends, you have friends. And perhaps through our friendship, I would have met, someone else that could have been a partner. I'm just giving examples for other women who are like, it doesn't have to be that man. You don't have to be looking for that man, and you don't want to be focused on the outcome. You just want to be open to connection, because when you're not focused on the outcome, then you're not putting that connection on a pedestal of like, oh, well, I want it to go somewhere. It's like, no, it's just here and now. We're just connecting in the present moment, and let's just see how it feels, not creating a story in your mind about where is this going? Does he like me? Oh my gosh, how am I being? It's just like, no, we're just talking, having a conversation right here, right now.
You're really good, in the first months of dating to put it out there that there's no hard expectation, and that there's detachment from like, okay, it needs to go this way. It needs to be certain like this. And that, from my side, it was also a sigh of relief to be like, okay, like, yes, we're serious. Yes, we want each other. We desire, future and, our goals. But there's a side of detachment being like, hey, you know what? If we're to break up tomorrow, yes, it's going to hurt, but we're going to be okay, because we just already know from who we've made ourselves as on the inners, that we can go and create, the newfound reality, the new man after that. Your bounce back is 10 times bigger. So it's like, I think that was really cool too, which came from you. You created that and made that into our relationship, which allowed me to also be like, okay, yeah, it's cool to like, not be super attached, even though we could be very attached.
I absolutely love that you bring that up, because women need to hear the man's side of that. And here's what I will attribute the unattachment, being detached from the outcome to. It is that, know that every man that you date, every relationship that you will get into is for your own growth. And this has a lot to do with like the man is the mirror of you, and you recognize like it's an opportunity when you, not only in daily life is life a mirror of who you are being, but then when you're in romantic relationship with someone, you are really face to face with the mirror, in the best way, because it will trigger you so that you can claim more of your truth and so that you can clean up the behavioral patterns, the limiting beliefs, the insecurities within you. It is happening for you. And so because I had that perspective and I knew that dating is for growth, because I learned that through my own journey and through coaching women, that the only reason why we're really doing this is for growth. And of course it's for love and for joy and all of those things. But at the end of the day, the way I see reality is like we are actually the only one in our own reality. So everything outside of us becomes a tool for our own growth. Therefore, the man in your life is a tool for your own growth. So I knew that, one, we would grow in the short term based on our own intention of the relationship that we created, which we can talk about in a second. And then, but I knew that even through that short term, if we were to break up, in 3 months or 6 months, I knew that I was going to be a better version of myself. Therefore, I knew I could go attract another man. And I still believe that. You and I still hold that. And you chose to meet me in that belief of like, hey, we're in this for growth. Like, yes, we both desire family and kids and things, but we're not forcing each other to make that a reality, because always through our growth, we are creating our reality. So I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say on that, but yeah, that was something that we literally talked about as we were getting into relationship. And I was very clear that something we can talk about too is like, we both decided like, it's our responsibility to show up as our best versions of ourselves. I knew that I was like, I'm going to take care of me. You got to take care of you. And I expect us both to come into the relationship as our best selves. And we are fully able to call each other out and also hold each other to a higher standard and support one another when we are not being that best version of ourselves. And that's something that I love that we do in our relationship, is that we do hold space for the times when we are not being the best versions of ourselves, and we can help each other get back there. And also we can call each other out and be like, you're not being the best version of yourself. You need to go do something for you. I need to go do something for me. And we can come back together in a day or whenever we need.
Yeah. The relationship, it's about, growth. It's about putting a lot of our values up in the forefront, and big part of, Lauren's values, my values, it's growth. We want to continue to grow as lovers, as human beings, as business owners, as someone that's just developing. And if I'm not showing up with a full cup, if I'm not doing my personal work, if I stop going to the gym, stop eating healthy, well, this isn't the man that, she wants and signed up for. And for us, it's like, okay, well, there are always going to be good and bad days. There's going to be, seasons in life, and there is leeway. But it's also, hey, reminding ourselves of like, our personal goals, our personal duties, our missions, and like that being together, it enhances that. It is a support system that allows us to transcend faster, allows us to, gives us a reason why to be better, to show up in certain ways. So it's like, okay, when we're not together, it's like, okay, we're building our empire. We're building the things that matter to us. We're going to the gym, we're eating, so I know that, this is a conversation about the beginning of our relationship. And, I think we can take it back there, and there'll be a further episode or episodes that can talk about the now sides and like what we're learning, what we're growing into, and all these things. I think an element would be like to touch on, but obviously you're in charge of this podcast. It would be like, how do we decide that, hey, let's start dating? Hey, how do we decide in those early stages of that dynamic and what that looked like? So
yeah, perfect. I wanted to go there. So a quick recap too of, I wanted to say, like, with this growth piece, part of the also being unattached from the outcome is also knowing that the man is just the cherry on top of your life. And that's something I say all the time. That's why I use the cherry emoji all the time in my branding and stuff, because truly, you as the woman need to know who you are. And this is what turning on your energy is becoming into this more authentic version of yourself, not the conditioned version of yourself that you thought you needed to be in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to be successful in life. It's truly claiming who you are and becoming more of yourself. And then when you get into a relationship with a man, you get the opportunity to even enhance that at a deeper level. And that's how you create deep, soulful connection with a man. So the man is the cherry on top. And then the growth with him continues. And so even in the beginning of our relationship, let's call it, like we met, but then we didn't even exchange information that day. And it wasn't until about a week later that Trevor reached out to me, found my information through the mutual contacts that I had mentioned we had in common. And then from there, we hung out a couple of times just platonically. I think there was like a little undercurrent of like, like who is this person? Kind of like just getting to know each other. But also like, don't we do that with friends anyway? You could kind of feel out a friend from the beginning. And yeah, do you want to chime in and say something?
Oh, just the curiosity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the initial intentions was like, okay, well, I know she's into, she wanted to do more in her business. She wanted to show up and get stuff done was sort of the first conversation. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be at this cafe or I'm going to be at this place to get some work done. Would you want to join me, to co-work? And, let's have fun that way. And, our first date or encounter, okay, showed up. We opened the laptops. I said, hey, what's the biggest thing you want to get done in this time slot? Okay, cool. And then I was like, okay, let's put 30 minutes on the clock and let's not talk. Let's not do anything else besides the task. We can check in after. And, we exchanged looks back and forth, but that was our time together. So,
yeah. And I mean, that's huge I didn't know that he was doing that from his end of like, if you hear what he just said, he was already thinking about supporting me and my goals, supporting from a standpoint of like, making time for it, making it something that we can do together, being a positive influence. Like he knows I'm not trying to like drink and party and things like that. So he's like, hey, let's meet up and co-work. So I could tell that he was already had the values in alignment with the things that I desired. And I want to make it clear too that when you're in dating with someone, when you start dating someone, growth and like collaborating on something doesn't have to be a business, but you should always be like creating something with someone. So it's like there needs to be, it's like, of course, like the intention of dating has, like, yeah, we're building a relationship and we're going to build a family one day. But then too, like, what is the short-term thing that you guys are creating? Like, what are you actively creating together? So for us, we knew that we were both building ourselves professionally and we're both entrepreneurs. And that's something that we really support each other on. Other couples, there might be like, your thing might be travel. Your thing might be finding the new restaurants in town. Like, don't discount the little things. Your thing might be, nature. Also, your thing can be supporting each other's thing. So again, maybe someone's a nature enthusiast and someone else is more of like an artist or something, but you each enjoy partaking in each other's pursuits. And so there needs to be an intention, a co-creation in what your relationship is. It's not just like, okay, you do you and I do me, and then, like we're gonna go out to dinner sometimes and just watch Netflix and things like that. Like that does not actually a fulfilling relationship. You will get bored. You will probably build resentments and things like that. So that's why it's really important for you to know who you are as a woman, what you are working towards in your own life. Like, don't discount whatever that thing is, even if it's like you're, starting your content page on TikTok, or you are anything. Maybe you're starting a bakery, or it could be any sort of like side thing or thing that you're doing for fun, or maybe you like community service, whatever that thing is. And if you don't know what that is, start experimenting with what that could be for you in your life, because you want to have something that is yours, that you are creating, and that your partner can support in helping you co-create that, and just, give you like energetic support and, love you for doing that and pursuing that for yourself. Because if the relationship were to end, tomorrow, next week, or whatever, it's like, I'm not going to be like, who am I? No, it's like, I know who I am because I'm doing my things, and I want that for you too. It's like, know who you are, know what you're working towards. And even if the man were to step out of your life, it's not like who you are is tied up in the relationship. Because I know I've been that woman before where basically I abandoned myself for the relationship and put all of my time and energy into the relationship because I was not being courageous enough to claim what I wanted to create in my own life. But you have to be her first. You have to go after what you want to create in life, so that, again, the man is just the cherry on top. He doesn't become your purpose. You already have a purpose, and he can come in and support that.
We are the enhancers for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And then anything else you want to say on that? Otherwise, I want to go into, again, the early stage of.
I think if you're in a relationship and it's not there for like getting you closer to, your goals, your desires, your wants, what are you really doing in that relationship? Mm-hmm. If there's a place where, we're together and it's taking away from, being the higher version of yourself, what are you doing in that relationship?
Yeah.
That's just, it's broken. We should be in the enhancers for each other. We should be the catalyst to be better, to want more, to grow, to etc. Right? Yeah. It's not to take away, hey, because you're my partner, you're not allowed to bake anymore. It's like, you need to have all the time in the world. No, it's like we should be the support systems for each other for achieving more. And if we don't know what that is, then it's like we're building a life for that. It's, the today's day and age, it's the standard is go Netflix and chill. Let's not get to know each other or grow. It's
be comfortable. Let's be comfortable together. Let's be a companion instead of a partner. It's like, no, you don't want a companion's not going to cut it anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say about that is that even if you don't know what it is that is your thing, just tell your partner or tell the person that you're dating or tell someone on a date, I'm figuring it out. Like, be confident about figuring it out, but then actually do the things that you need to do to figure it out. One weekend, try this, another weekend, try that, if you don't know what it is, because I feel like we always think that we need to be at a certain level or we need to have it all together before we can meet our partner. And that's not true at all. And I recognized this finally when I was like single at 30, 31, going on a couple of dates and thinking I needed to have it all figured out. And I was like, no, actually, if I just say like, I'm exploring different avenues and I'm gonna figure it out, then that person can support me in exploring different avenues. But it's not that I need to know who I am, because you're always going to be evolving. You're never gonna be the same version as you today, next week, next year. Like, you're always gonna be evolving. So even if you don't know what your own quote unquote like purpose is or your thing that you're working on, because like, maybe you want to learn a foreign language. Maybe you want to volunteer at different places. Maybe you want to support animals or something like that. It's like, if you don't know what your thing is, start exploring and being curious about the things that interest you, And the person who you're dating will appreciate that you are figuring it out, that you are being curious, and maybe they're going to want to, come along with you for, your explorations. So you don't have to have it all together when you first meet someone. Hey, babe, that was the first part of this episode with Trevor. There's going to be a part 2. It's the continuation of our conversation, but I wanted to cut it here for you so that you have some time to integrate what you just heard. Knowing that you can lead yourself with your feminine desire and that it is actually leading you on the inevitable path to be with the man that is meant for you. And also the perspective that dating is for your own growth. When you hold yourself to that standard, that is the type of man that you will attract because you're actually just not available for anything less. I am so excited for you to hear the second part of our conversation. It is so juicy. Trevor reveals how he was so attracted to my feminine energy because of the way that I was leading myself. I clearly laid out what it is that I was looking for, and it inspired him. The feminine always inspires the masculine. It inspired him to step into the man, the partner, the role that he could see for himself in my life. Even though I was fine without a man, I still created space and I created a vision for the man that I wanted in my life. And he was like, wow, I want that role. I want to be your partner. You're so clear on what you want. I want to take us there. So I am so excited for you to tune in to the next episode. Stay tuned, but also take some time to integrate this episode. Go back, take some notes, re-listen if you need to. And as always, sending you so much love. I'll see you in the next episode.